Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Average Goats. We did a show a couple weeks ago about the golf world going into the winter months, and I told you we were going to be doing a lot of new things this year, and we're going to start it off here. We are welcoming a very close friend of ours, Mr. DP. How you doing tonight?
Great. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you. Sammy's back with me, too. Sammy, how you doing?
Always good to be here, Pappy.
And yes, I'm Pappy. How was you guys' Thanksgiving? Good?
Fantastic.
Great.
Oh, man, it was great. It was great. You know, you woke up early. Did you guys play some football with friends? Turkey's cooking. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch my Bears, you know, get a little cocktails rolling. And then that first half of shit happened where the Bears could not do anything. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They got nothing going in the first half. It looked like it was just going to be – I mean, honestly, the Lions should have been up like 35-0 at half, no?
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. It was that bad. And I was out east in-laws family, and they're all just – I mean, they're going pretty hard on me. It was rough. It was a rough Thanksgiving morning. And I was like, listen, this is what the Bears do. They're going to come back. They're going to make this a game. You're going to be like, oh, holy shit. They're going to pull it off. And then they're going to do something and they're going to rip your guts out. And they're all looking at me like, no way, no way. And then the second half's happening, and then the Bears just flipped the script. It was crazy. It was like two different teams. It was insane. What did you get? I mean,
yeah, I called it the fourth quarter Bears as soon as they went into the second half and whatever, because they always pull through, it seems like. They at least make it a game.
Well, they don't pull through, Sammy. That's
not pull through. But yeah, at least make it a game, because
they are inventing ways to lose right now.
Which I did not think that way was possible going into that day.
Like I said, they're inventing them. Yeah. It is absolutely insane how they've lost these games. But they're the Bears, and this is what they do. You know, Dylan, what did you think of that game?
Yeah, you know, I mean, to me, it's just been typical Bears stuff like the last couple of weeks. You know, they think that you should be probably getting blown out in the first half, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and it's a one-score game. And it just seems that, you know, they just keep doing that so often, and like you said, they just rip your heart out. And, you know, it's been too much of a common theme, and it needs to change eventually. And, you know, now it might will.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for the red zone defense, holding them to field goals, not all the touchdowns, because I think the Lions could have put up, God, it looked like they were going to put up 45, 50 points.
Right, and especially when they run the play where they give it to Sewell, and he's rolling around, he's got the ball, and the offensive lineman's going to throw a touchdown. So you're just like, really? We're going to have an offensive lineman throw a touchdown on us now? What else could go wrong right now? And it was fun play, and he's just stiff-arming, you know, DBs left and right. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm truly not surprised that Ben Johnson came out with something like that just to prove, like, hey, I'm this creative offensive genius, so I'm not really surprised that he tried doing that.
All I could hear was the Packers announcer from back in the day with Matt Nagy, and it was more arrogance by Matt Nagy, and it was just like, in my head, it was just kept saying, more arrogance by Ben Johnson, because he's been rumored to be with the Bears before what happened this week, and then you got that game, and he wanted to really just, honestly, just rub it in the Bears' face about how good they are and how bad we are.
Yep.
So I'm kind of glad that backfired on them. So the Bears, you know, they come back in the second half, and everybody knows how it goes. I jump up out of my seat. I'm literally yelling at the top of my lungs in Maryland, thinking that the Bears can hear me in Detroit. Like, what are we doing? Snap the damn ball. Snap the ball. Call the timeout. We're not calling the timeout. Oh, my God, we're going to the line. Holy shit, he's checking the play. Oh, my God, he's holding the ball. Throw the ball away. Okay, I threw the ball down the field. I went for the win. Nothing happens. We have no damn time left. Is that how it ended?
Exactly.
And then you're just standing there, and everybody's just looking at me, waiting for this big meltdown, right? They're like, oh, here we go. Pappy's about to lose it. And I'm just like, that just happened. It was unbelievable that they didn't call the timeout. They ran out of time. And to me, the biggest crime of the day was that they actually let Matt Nagy go back with the team. They actually flew that group of people back. Yeah. I mean, I would have gave them Uber money maybe to come back to Chicago for the holiday.
That's just a nice thing to do, at least.
Uber money at the most. Matt Nagy shouldn't even been able to get on the plane.
On the tarmac.
Right?
Done.
And then this dumbass franchise, They're gonna Bears it up again. It's literally the clown show comes into town every 3 to 4 years with this franchise, and they let Matt Nagy do a press conference.
A Zoom call.
Did you see that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Same person.
It is Eberflus.
Same
it's
person.
the same person. They got rid of Matt
So
Nagy
sad.
and Ryan Pace, and only the Bears could hire Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. They didn't want to change the nameplate on the door. They didn't want to change the parking spot sign. That's how cheap the Bears are. And, like, they just keep doing this shit to us time and time again. But, yeah, anyways, the Bears played the early game on Thanksgiving. They fly back. Upper management, they have to have a meeting, but they're going to wait to have the meeting. They all go home and have Thanksgiving dinner while we're all pissed off in a corner, right? They're not having their meeting then. The guy is still allowed to be. He comes into the building the next morning, meets with them briefly, and they put him on a Zoom call. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
No, I mean, it's actually absurd. I mean, even like you said, having them fly back with the team, this could be on for another topic, but, like, I'm surprised that Ohio State let Ryan Day walk off that field after losing to Michigan for a 4th straight time. Mm-hmm. To me, that's kind of the same boat that, the Bears and Ohio State are in with that segment of, like, how do you let this person come back to the locker room, come back on the team plane?
Yeah.
And it's just absurd. It's just a Bears thing to do.
I did hear one take that was almost questioning if it was a flex on the Bears to Eberflus, almost like making him get up there and do it, even though they knew he was out, kind of like putting him. You know what I mean?
Sam,
kind of out to dry.
They really sold it to him
I'm like,
because
oh shit,
he really thought he was going to San Francisco this week. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
This is crazy right here. This is from this meeting.
Finishing up this game, doing a good job of evaluating that, our after-action report like we always do, and then I'm working into San Francisco. Again, those are conversations we'll have, and again, I'm confident that I'll be working onto San Francisco and getting ready for that game.
He's confident he's going to San Francisco and working on that game.
That was 9 a.m.
That was Friday morning. You're taking your nap because you went shopping, right? No, you didn't go? Yeah, me neither. Not a chance. I was sleeping off my high noon hangover. Mm-hmm. It was brutal. And this clown thinks he's still got a job. Who's running this organization? In what world does Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, the McCaskies say, you know what? Go ahead, go take this meeting. And then they fire him. Well, what are we doing here?
Is the report true that Poles wanted to fire him and then McCaskey needed more time to think about it? I don't know if you heard that as well.
I heard a rumor the rumors are coming out left and right. I heard a rumor that Poles went to him this offseason and said, this is the plan. We're taking Caleb, blah, blah, blah. We need to get rid of Matt now, right? We need to get rid of Matt now and bring in the new coach, offensive mind, to be with the new quarterback. So, I mean, you can mulligan it all you want, but what do you think they should have done? Because my whole thing is, it doesn't feel like they put their arm around Matt and said, Matt's our guy. We're going to draft and we're going to build this team up. And and everybody's buying the hard knock shit early on in the year. That was a whole nother story. Eberflus 2.0 because he grew a beard and his wife shopped for him or some shit. Everybody thought he became a great coach all of a sudden. And within like a couple of minutes of the first game, you're like, this offense doesn't look right. I don't know why we got Shane Waldron. I mean, you had Cliff Kingsbury in the freaking building, and you let him go to D.C., okay? So Shane Waldron gets fired after 9 weeks, and now this. So how do we go from we have his back, he's our guy, and within 9 weeks you're firing an offensive coordinator, and a couple weeks after that you're launching the head coach for the first time in franchise history?
Bears.
And that's what they want to do.
The only team, baby.
we're gonna bring in our offensive coordinator on the job 3 weeks technically because he was the passing game coordinator. And when that switch happens, he's like, Caleb Williams is like, yeah, we haven't really talked. What do you mean you haven't really talked? You're the passing game coordinator. That's the number 1 draft pick. That's the future franchise quarterback. What do you mean you haven't talked?
Yeah, going back with what you were saying about Cliff Kingsbury, another point, they had all of Washington's staff in the building and didn't hire any of them.
None of them.
They had Dan Quinn in the building. They had Cliff in the building. And they decided to go with these two idiots.
Yeah. In the whole breakdown of the last 20 seconds, Caleb comes out and he goes, he pretty much waited 20 seconds for the play to come in. The play finally gets in. They get to the line. He recognizes, oh, shit, this isn't going to work with what we got going on. Checks it to the play that he goes for. It doesn't work out. So that whole scenario. So the guy that couldn't get a play in, Thomas Brown, your offensive coordinator, is now the leader of men that has to be the guy that we fire Matt Eberflus away, send him home for 5 more weeks, or for the last 5 weeks of the season, to see what the Thomas Brown era is going to bring to the Chicago Bears. What are we doing here? This guy, did he even get to call plays last year for Carolina? Bryce Young, that was a real powerhouse, right? So we get that guy to back up Shane Waldron in that high-power offense that was up in Seattle last year. Those are the two guys that are going to bring and usher Caleb Williams into the NFL and teach him how to play at the highest level. These two clowns, and Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren, put their arms around Eberflus and said, yo, you're our guy. We're going to run it back for a 3rd year. We're not going to bring in new people. This is the franchise now that is telling you, don't worry, we got you. We got you. You can trust us. Because he wasn't really our guy, right? And Kevin Warren's like, I wasn't really here. Kevin Warren can't even make up. The stadium was a slam dunk, was it not? It was in Arlington. They brought a freaking horse track, Sam.
Wasn't that his only job, too?
300 acres.
Just to find
he's the team president. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
We now have 3 sites that the Bears are linked to the building. One of the sites on the lakefront is in the parking lot where we tailgate in the south lot. Mm-hmm. So one of the things he loves, he's going to take it away for this dome stadium that he wants on the lakefront and not in Arlington. Well, then, who knew? Friends of the park are going to throw a wrench into your plans. The city's going to have their hands out. The state doesn't want to pay for it. This team is worth $6.8 billion freaking dollars, and they need your tax money to build a new stadium. $6.8 billion, and they don't even own their own stadium yet. And they had Dan Quinn in the building, like Dylan was saying. They flew his ass coach middle row.
In the back.
In the back to come interview. So don't tell me Matt Eberflus was Ryan Poles' pick. When Ryan Poles comes on the job, he had to have been handed a file. I'm thinking 3 names. Dan Quinn, Matt Eberflus, and Jim Caldwell at the time, right? He was forced to take this guy. Then he wants to get rid of him, and the McCaskies don't want to do it. What a wasted season. And these are the people that said, we're going to get it right for you this time. You think they're going to get it right, Dylan?
Depends on who they hire.
Yeah, it's crazy. Here, I got to play this. I got to play this one clip. Ryan Poles was asked at the press conference the other day after they get rid of Eberflus, and listen to this. He's asked about Shane Waldron.
Ryan, where do you feel like it went wrong in the selection of Shane Waldron?
With Shane, obviously there was some, communication that probably didn't happen as clean as it needed to be. And we just got off to a tough start. It's always difficult when you have a young quarterback. We built this to have support around Caleb. But when you have that blend of a young rookie quarterback with experienced players to make that all work, it's a difficult task. And I think there was a little bit of struggle just getting that going.
Trouble getting it going. We built support around Caleb. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I just think that's a complete lie.
Did they?
They got the shiny cars.
Yeah.
They got
good.
They got him DJ Moore. They
Right.
went and got him Keenan. How about some big guys to protect his ass?
Yeah.
Did they get him
that's
that?
key. And this isn't USC anymore where he can evade guys like that when he was at USC because their O-line wasn't great.
Yeah, he's not playing Arizona.
No.
He's playing the freaking Green Bay Packers. He's playing the Detroit Lions.
When you got D linemen who are as fast as your running backs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just trouble in paradise.
But it was Shane Waldron never got on the page. So the GM, who prides himself on being an offensive lineman back in his day, along with his right-hand man, who was a offensive lineman back in the day. They try to go to like TJ Maxx clearance, dude. They're trying to get the max for the minimum. And that offensive line has hardly any draft capital invested in it since he's been here. I get it, Darnell Wright, but that was the whole thing because they didn't want to take Jalen Carter, right? But we have 5th rounders, 7th rounders. We have Tevin Jenkins they didn't want. We have a carousel up the middle at center. I mean, it's a joke. It's a freaking clown car left and right.
Nate Davis, we pay a truckload of money to, and I get it. The one, he gets here, he's having his mom's health, and then she passes away. It's very sad. And then they gave him an extra 2 weeks off to deal with that grief, and he still can't come back and play hard for this team? They gave him big money for a guard position? Are you kidding me? But don't worry, these guys are going to get it right for you. I love it, dude. I love Ryan Poles right now. It's crazy because in July, right, August, you got Hard Knocks, the preseason, the buzz is big. I would say Ryan Poles' job approval with Bears fans, he had to be like 90-95%, no?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to, take the candy from the Hard Knocks. Everyone's going to take all the bait from all the, stuff he's been saying in press conferences and Twitter. So I'm not surprised that, he would think that, the world's in his hands, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have done anything, and Bears fans would have just ate another bowl of shit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So from there to now is just crazy. I would say he has got a less than a 50% job approval rating right now. No?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are very frustrated, obviously, with Waldron and, Eberflus and
he let Matt hire his own coach, supposedly the Shane Waldron thing.
And those reflect on him. I mean, you're the guy, that goes all the way up the chain. So that's just making him look even worse, even if he didn't want it. But so that's still his fault.
You're a young gun, hot offensive coordinator. Let's just say Ben Johnson right now, right? That's a hot name that everybody thinks. Offensive coordinator from the Lions is going to come to the Bears. He's going to be their savior. We'll get into that a little bit more later. But if you're him, why do you want to come here and work for Ryan Poles? Ryan Poles, who is literally... this is going to sound terrible, but it's almost like he was neutered on TV the other day by Kevin Warren. First off, I don't know any other team when this stuff's going on that the team president's sitting at the table running the press conference. Does that happen with the Chiefs?
No.
Does that happen with the Packers? Does that happen with it? It was us, maybe Dallas, just because Jerry loves Jerry, right? That's where you see that shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, even the crappy Browns who were like taken after now with this carousel of crap, they don't do this stuff. So Kevin Warren's up there. So I'm Ben Johnson, right? And I'm gonna come in here and Ryan Poles is gonna sell me on the job, and they're gonna pay me a bag. They're gonna have to pay a Ben Johnson 15, 20 million. It's gonna be a crazy number, right? And then you're gonna go up at your press conference. Remember this one? Remember this gem from Ryan Poles?
It's a privilege to introduce my new brother and 17th head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Now this is hysterical. Nobody's excited about Matt Eberflus when he gets hired.
No applause, huh? Come on. Get it working in here, right? Okay, this is a special moment. I mean, obviously for Ryan and I and our families. And first of all, I'd like to...
Because they're brothers now, right? They're brothers. From the get-go, that conference was exactly, because it's not memorable, Sam. The 17th head coach in this charter franchise's history. And that is how he got it going. And by the way, they're not brothers anymore. I think they're more like stepbrothers, huh? Stepbrothers 2. Chicago Boogaloo. Right. It's coming to theaters this Christmas. Get your tickets now.
You can see it every Sunday.
Oh, every Sunday. I've watched it for 2.5 freaking years. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. So why are you coming here?
I think what really would attract someone like Ben Johnson to come over and be the head coach, I think he would call his own plays as well. I think, that's his type of MO. But, I mean, just the offense, like you have a lot of pieces. You have Caleb, you have, DJ, DeAndre Swift. I think you'd start up front, rebuild the offensive line through the draft. Maybe there's a couple key free agents. Because I think that the defense is always there. Now, Brisker can't recover from this concussion. It's been, I don't know, however many weeks he's been IR.
Rumors he's coming back now.
Oh.
As soon as he can get off IR, he's back.
So as soon as they fired him,
he was very active.
He's back?
He was very active on Twitter.
very
active on Twitter about his coach.
Needless to say, he was pretty happy once he got the news that he was fired. But, I think from an offensive standpoint, from an offensive mind like Ben Johnson, it's the offense attracts you to come work. Like, I wouldn't say they're the Detroit Lions, obviously, because that offensive system is insane. But I wouldn't say you have comparable pieces either. But, it's like a step forward. It's like when people try to rebuild the Warriors, through their dynasty. And, when the Bears got Tariq Cohen thinking that he was Tyreek Hill. I just think some of those pieces could really attract Ben Johnson to come over.
Do you think the front office, though, of the Warriors didn't screw it up as bad as the Bears are screwing up to even attract people like that, though?
Because I think it's a little easier, too, because you have to get, 7 players instead of 7
but the
players
Bears are so...
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears are so epically just... They make such bad decisions.
And that's what's crazy. That's how I am saying. And
people are like, I'm good.
Yeah. And then one of the TV shows... was Fox, Howie Long was on it. And this is what he thinks. He thinks, might be a pretty good job.
This is a great job. The Bears, the personnel, and they've got the quarterback who I really like the quarterback a lot.
So,
likes him.
Super Bowl winner. I think he knows his football. He's been commentating on football for how long? More than I've been alive, it feels like.
Yeah.
So... Maybe it is a good job. I don't know, but I just keep going back. I don't trust what the ivory tower does for this team, this franchise ever really. I mean, it's pretty crazy to go from never firing one to firing Eberflus now and then letting him do the Zoom like we talked about. And I don't know. I just it's mind blowing to me. And now the guy that's going to run the ship is this offensive coordinator who wasn't the offense coordinator a month ago. And they say he's a leader of men. They say, listen, I don't know the guy. I don't have anything against him. I'm calling bullshit right now. I don't think he's a leader of men. I don't think this 5-week audition's going to, end up well. Like, if they go 4-1 the next 5 games and the Bears get bamboozled like the Raiders did last year, with Antonio Pierce. Remember that? They fired their coach. Antonio Pierce comes in, player's guy. They get on a heater. He gets the job. Now they're like, this isn't so good.
No.
They won, what, the first 2 games, and then they haven't won one? Then they trade Devontae Adams?
Yep.
What are you doing? So, and that's what the Bears are now. That's how sad this is. It's unbelievable. So the new coach has been asked a couple really good questions, and the one here he gets asked about the team and how it's going when they first met.
So I started the day with our first team meeting. Talk about our players as far as plan of attack moving forward. All right. So before we talk about X's and O's, before we talk about the game plan for San Fran, I talked about making sure our house is right to begin with. So the initial goal is to unify this football team. They're about in the same accord, moving in the same direction, speaking the same language, and attacking together. So no more divisions. As far as the outside noise, we ignore it because it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative. What matters is our daily approach, us working together, and execute when it's time to go execute.
It's the Loaf's principle all over again. This is just coach speak, right?
Yeah.
Unity, our process, we're all one. This guy was in the house that he's talking about being dysfunctional and that we need to unify. So why wasn't he a part of the solution before all this shit happened?
Could he be a part of the problem?
Was he part of the problem? We're going to unify it now. I mean, thank God for Jalen Johnson doing what he did and blowing up.
Yeah.
And then clarifying it when he did an interview earlier this week, and he's just like, I've been here 5 years. I'm tired of losing. That was like the closest thing I've heard from a Bears fan's opinion from anybody up there.
Yep.
They're all looking around the room to see who they can pass more blame to right now, and they don't give a shit about us. They don't give a damn about us. They would have figured this out years ago. We're talking about a $6.8 billion franchise that does not care, a fan base that has been loyal through a ton of shit. Curtis Enos. A ton of crap. Player after player after player. And this franchise, you're supposed to believe it. So This is the best part of Kevin Warren this week.
My goal still remains is to make sure we build an organization that can have continued success both on and off the field. Now is that time. Now is the opportunity. We have some great attributes on our side. We have the greatest fans in the National Football League. I would argue we have the greatest fans in all of professional sports. And I made it clear in my introductory press conference, we will build the champion on the field. We'll build the champion in the community. We'll build a world-class stadium. Nothing has changed. We are not going to waver from that.
Nothing's going to change. I mean, the one remark in there is we're going to look back at this as this is the day that it starts. Dude, you've been on the job for a couple years now. You've been on the job for 2 freaking years. We're still talking about building the world-class stadium and that it starts now. Can I get a refund on my last 2 years then? Has Kevin Warren been sleeping on the job? What is that shit?
Yeah, I mean, truly it all comes down to, they haven't delivered. Yeah, you get the, the shiny cars, you get the players, whatever, but you don't get the people to go around and to guide them. You need somebody with experience, and they hire these two. You need somebody who's done it before. I'm not saying, Bill Belichick, but you need somebody who's been in those shoes to help fill, what the fans want, what the players want. Obviously, what Jalen said, to win. He's tired of losing. But they just keep bringing in losers.
Yeah. It's really started since Lovie Smith. Do you remember Lovie Smith, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were some fun years. Brian Urlacher going to a Super Bowl, 3 playoff appearances. They fired him. He was 81-63. They replaced him with Trustman, 13-19, followed by John Firefox, 14-34. You had Matt Nagy. I liked him. A lot of people didn't. He went to 2 playoffs. He was 34-31. At least he had a winning record.
Yeah,
we had to run him out of town for Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus, 14-32. Matt Eberflus never won a road game on a Sunday. How is that even possible, Dylan?
Crazy.
Terrible.
Dylan, how is it even possible?
But at least Lovey is still a bear at heart. Help him get the first pick.
Got us our first pick 2 years in a row. That's the problem, though. Picking number 1 2 years in a row is not good as a franchise. So Kevin Warren is going to fix this with Ryan Poles. They are working now. It starts now. It started this week, not the last couple years that they've been here.
Better late than never, Pep.
Time's ticking.
It's true.
You're not getting a refund on any of those tickets. In fact, they're going to probably jack you up another 8% here in the next couple of weeks once the season's over. Because next year, folks, it's going to be a big year for the Bears. Rumor is 2025 is the Bears' year. They're going to win. They're going to take back the North. Oh, no.
Never give it back.
No, that's not what they do.
Please don't turn into the Cowboys here with this is our year every year.
They had one job to do. One job. And that was to get the quarterback right and take care of him. And they have done nothing but nonsense ever since Caleb Williams came here. And the best part was Bears fandom was Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. And don't pick him, he paints his fingernails. And don't pick him, he cried to his mom. And don't pick him, he kind of dresses elegantly, uniquely. Don't pick him, stick with Justin Fields. He was the problem. The dad was going to be a problem. The dad was going to be LeVar Ball of football. Do you remember that?
Yes.
They wanted part of the franchise before he signed his first contract, which is against the rules. Bears fans were coming up with this shit over and over and over again. I remember family parties being overtaken by pro or not pro Justin Fields. Yes or no? Mm-hmm. So they decided to go on this course. They decided to keep Matt Eberflus around. They decided to bring in Shane Waldron. They had one job to do, not to screw up the Bears quarterback that they just drafted.
Again.
Yeah, again.
How many times in a row? Just over and over and over.
They had one freaking job to do.
That argument's still going on.
And here's another thing, which is crazy. Caleb Williams is good. I'll be honest. I lean towards to keep the Justin Fields trade the pick to get more picks.
Yep.
Build your offensive line, build your defensive line. Crazy idea, but Caleb Williams has won me over. Caleb Williams is tougher than I thought he'd be. Caleb Williams is not really a problem child diva. Caleb Williams, you could tell, loves football. Does he hold on to the ball too much? Yeah, a lot of times he does. Is he a little gun shy right now? Yeah, you would be too if you got your ass kicked to the ground 20 times a game by 300-pound freaking best athletes in the world. Yes?
Yep.
And he's still positive. Has he caused a distraction yet?
No.
Nope. Guys get fired. He puts his hand up. He goes, I'm kind of the problem. I'm part of the problem why that guy got fired. I kind of screwed up. I need to be better. The Bears need to be better. The Bears need to take care of this guy. If they can't get this one right, pack your shit up and move the team, because there's no reason for you to stick around in the football business. You need to sell that. If you can't get it right this time, sell the team. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean,
I think everyone's rooting for the McCaskies to sell the team.
yeah.
We're
We're in the same boat as another Chicago sports fans.
For sure.
all of our teams suck right now. And George is great. He walks around the tailgate lots every home game with his wannabe Bears Letterman jacket on, like he's an alumni player. You know, he was a 4-year starter on varsity kind of crap. And he'll take a picture with you, and you just look at him and you're like, dude, we just want to win.
Sell the team.
We just want to win. Enough of this shit. So they're going to move on, and I don't think the Thomas Brown era is going to be, here for long. Do you?
No, I think that truly they need to, almost do some soul searching. They need to, once the season's over, you need to get it right. You need to pick somebody who knows what they're doing finally, and just go with it. Open up your checkbooks finally. $6 billion franchise. Open it up and just pay it, please.
Do they overthink it? Sometimes I feel like it's right in front of their face. Just pick the guy that everyone is talking about, and they always try to pick some Tressman.
It almost seems cheap,
something
though,
where it's
from
like
the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, well,
wasn't he?
Right.
Who?
But
Tressman. He was from the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, he won the CFL titles, right?
Yeah.
And we go get him. Brian Dable? No.
Yeah.
We don't need him.
They didn't want to keep Saquon.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So it's funny you bring up Saquon. One of the things I heard about this whole Bears debacle was I don't think the Bears spend salary cap. It's fine. They're going to have a massive amount of open salary cap next year, which is great. Been hearing that for years too. But I think the Bears do spend as in like a franchise. I think they put in a bunch of work up at Hales Hall to update that. Okay, great. They signed DeAndre Swift. They're paying him. But the thing I heard was crazy was, okay, DeAndre Swift is technically making less money per year than Saquon Barkley. This is where I'm going with it because you brought it up. But Saquon Barkley, because of his massive signing bonus, is less of a cap hit to the Eagles than DeAndre Swift is to the Bears. So does that make sense?
Smart financials by Philadelphia.
Big time. So Philadelphia gets Saquon Barkley, less money against them. We get DeAndre Swift, more money against our cap. That's where the Bears are cheap. So you think this franchise that flew Dan Quinn coach for an interview is going to spend $15, $20 million for a Ben Johnson realistically?
Probably not. They'll screw it up again eventually. But, I mean, that to win, that's what you got to do. I mean, you have to be able to open up the checkbooks and win. I mean, it's almost like the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't care. They just want to win. They'll buy every single player possible. And
yeah, what's the penalty? All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But this ownership's not doing that.
No.
So Ben Johnson's obviously on the short list. What do you like about him?
To me, it's a prototypical guy in the NFL, play caller wise. Kind of like how Matt LaFleur was. People were on Arthur Smith. All those. They all come from the same coaching tree. That Shanahan tree, McVay. I think that's the type of stuff. Unless you get a real old school defensive coach, I think the offensive mind could be the way to go with how the NFL is currently playing. A lot of people like to go too high now to keep away the deep threat of the pass. So, if you can get creative with the underneath and set the ground game, I mean, that's where the foundation will start, especially in Chicago.
The Bears are definitely trying the underneath in the last game, and Cole Kmet turned into a rugby player kind of, though. I know he's one of your Golden Domers, but that was a couple times he did it great, and a couple times he just like literally tackled people.
I mean, those mesh routes were not working for him. That's a concept that you have to run a lot of times in practice to get right. But it's about time they started throwing the ball. I mean, him and Walter must have some sort of beef at the beginning of the year because that was absurd.
Insane. It is. We were so worried about Mercedes Lewis getting his playing time.
Yeah, him and Gerald Everett.
Yeah,
combined like 80 years old.
Couldn't see the tight end that you just invested in last year.
Yep.
And guy that can stretch the field, versatile, but crazy. So so Ben Johnson or whoever they decide, they're going to come into a good spot, right? They are going to have 3 picks within the top 50-ish in the draft. They're going to have like $81 million in cap space. They're going to have the 4th place record to play against, so they're going to have a pretty easier schedule, right?
Weaker schedule.
Yeah, weaker schedule. So things would be definitely a line for you to take off with year 2 Caleb.
Do we know what division they play this next year?
Not off the top of my head, no. So, but Ben Johnson, I mean, besides the stuff in Detroit, he started off in Miami back in the day. Reggie Bush, Ryan Tannehill, your boy Anthony Fasano. Remember Anthony Fasano,
Yes.
tight end?
Yep.
So he was quarterbacks receivers coach for the Dolphins, and Reggie Bush, right? You had Tannehill, and they were 7-9, not good when he was helping out the offense. Yeah. They're also 27th out of 32 teams for points.
He was young.
I'm just saying. So, and then he gets a job back home where he played. He was an offensive lineman for the Lions. And, the whole Dan Campbell, I brought in all my guys and just kind of taking off from there. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to hand the keys to this guy and pay him all this money and it'd be the first time on the job training being the guy. I don't see him being strong-headed like a Dan Campbell either. So wouldn't be my first pick. Would be your first pick?
Negative.
All right. One of the other names being thrown around who I wouldn't be totally against it. I think it would be entertaining as hell is John Gruden.
Yeah, watching him do all the stuff he's, doing with Barstool, I think some of that stuff's absolutely hilarious. Him interviewing all the employees, asking them, what would you play versus a cloud corner? I just think that stuff's awesome. He has a great following on YouTube and TikTok with his Fired Football Coaches Association warehouse that he runs. That thing's awesome. If you get a chance to look at it, it's great on YouTube. I'd love it. I love the way he acts. I think, he
did that whole QB thing too. The QB.
The QB camp. Yeah. And I just think that, maybe he's a guy that they need to, get in their ass. Like, you have to have somebody who harps on you, not, buddy all the time. I'm sure, Belichick got in Brady's ass, however many times during practice. Like, you need somebody old school like that, I think, to be able to bring it back. And
he did the QB thing like we were talking about. So, Sam, don't you think he'd be good for like a Caleb Williams? Do you think he'd be good with Caleb Williams?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what an offensive mind. I think it'd be,
Is that even a possibility? I mean, how long is his, did he sign a contract with Barstool with his new... I wonder how long that's for.
I think if they offered him a job.
I think
he'd
pretty sure Barstool would want to
There's always a way out.
Coach. Yeah, you can go do that, but we get dibs on interviews with you.
So he's in Chicago now with them, though? Is he in the Chicago headquarters?
I don't know if he's in the Chicago headquarters or if he... Yeah, you know what?
I think he is.
He actually might be.
Yeah.
So he's in Chicago already.
He's already there.
He made a pitch for the Bears job.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
A couple weeks ago before Eberflus was even fired. So, yeah, one of his first episodes.
He's nearby.
So I was thinking the same thing, the quarterback thing and Super Bowl winner, and he got traded as a coach.
Yeah.
So what do you think, all right, what do you think the best season of a quarterback underneath John Gruden was? Who is the best quarterback numbers-wise for one season underneath John Gruden?
Probably Rich Gannon.
You would be correct, 2001. Any idea of the numbers?
Nice.
What do you think he's 3 or 4 yards-wise?
Well, was that his MVP year, 2001? It could have been. I don't know. Back in the day, he probably threw for, 3,900.
Okay. What do you think for touchdowns?
35.
Okay. All right. What if I told you the best quarterback season underneath a John Gruden head coach team is Rich Gannon, 2001? was very good. Very impressed. It was 3,828 yards. It was 27 touchdowns, and it was 9 INTs.
All right, he's pretty close in the yards.
Yeah. Not as impressive as I thought.
But
Not
he
for the-
wins.
Yeah.
But he did win one time. You're absolutely right. He won a Super Bowl. You want to know the best Bears quarterback season ever?
Jay Cutler.
Right now.
1995.
Okay.
Eric Kramer. Ready for these numbers, Sam? 3,838 yards. 10 yards more. 29 touchdowns. 10 interceptions. So the Bears, who have always had crappy quarterbacks, their best season as a quarterback is better than John Gruden's. Kind of worries me about John Gruden now. I was kind of like up for it, and I was just like,
I think Caleb's on pace to beat all that. I saw his numbers that would average out would be around 4,000 or like 3,900 yards.
it's going to be close.
30
They do play one extra game.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's turned it on, man.
Close to 30 touchdowns and
Like we were at the
Something else,
Indy
so-
game down in Indy, and it was garbage.
Oh.
I mean, it was brutal to watch. And then they made their little run again and ended up
dude.
losing. And awesome.
I blame Shane for everything. He sucks.
Yeah, that seemed to be
4th and 1
where
speed
the
option.
seems to be where the turning point was. The minute that Waldron got fired, it seemed that Caleb was more comfortable playing football
In
in a
about
Bears
3 weeks
uniform.
ago.
Finding out
Yeah.
more about his backstory, I'm just so confused on how he got hired. I do not understand.
Right?
Like the Seahawks clearly made it so obvious
Yeah,
this guy isn't fit. And
Yep.
somehow the Bears are like, yeah, we'll take him.
He's our guy.
Right on, guys.
He's gonna mold the best prospect to come out since Andrew Luck.
Jeez,
Bears.
Gruden loved Andrew Luck.
Oh yeah.
He sure did.
All right, so you're okay with Gruden.
I didn't even
I
hear
would.
that name one time, so I didn't even know that
I would love it if he
I'd love it too, but I would want him to bring like Ron Rivera in as his defense coordinator.
Oh,
and
that'd be
he might go new school with like an offensive coordinator. Does he try and poach Cliff? Does he give Lincoln Riley a bag for take him away from USC?
Lincoln Riley's not leaving USC to be the offensive coordinator under John Gruden.
Money talks.
depends on the bag.
Yeah,
The Bears aren't going to pay him. What does he make at USC? Like $9 million?
I don't know. He probably gets NIL too as a
Yeah,
coach.
they're not going to pay him $10 million to come be the offensive coordinator. They don't even pay the head coach that over 4 years. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So, one of the other names, and he's kind of my favorite, is Mike Vrabel. What do you think of Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, I actually wrote down some notes about Mike. I think he was a great fit here. He was a 2021 Coach of the Year for the Titans, 54-45 record, an AFC Championship appearance, 2-time AFC South champions with Ryan Tannehill at that. Granted, they did have King Henry, so that also helps. But even with his coaching tree, he did have Matt LaFleur before he went to Green Bay, and he had Arthur Smith before he went to the Falcons. So he seems to bring in good offensive coaches, considering he's a defensive guy. And they drafted well when he was there. And, they drafted A.J. Brown, Jeffrey Simmons. So I think he knows ball. He's just a consultant for the Browns right now. I'm sure he'd love to get behind a headset again.
He's my pick. Like I said, that year he was Coach of the Year. They beat Brady in prime Brady.
That was
They beat the Ravens too that year.
was that the pick 6 year at the end of the game versus Brady?
They lost in the AFC Championship game that year.
To the Chiefs?
Yeah. So, yeah. And he only got 5 years there. I thought he was there longer than that in Tennessee. We were talking about that earlier. I couldn't believe it.
It's nuts.
So he made it to an AFC Championship game within 5 years. We haven't been to an NFC Championship game since Lovie Smith, who was like 5 coaches ago.
20 years ago.
Unreal. So, Sam, do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. It's been a long day for me. Bears wear
hear
me
ya.
out, dude. Bears wear me out.
The Bears wear you out every year.
It's just a mental roller coaster the whole season. 8 months ago, I was on such a high to where
Yeah.
I'm at now. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, 8 months ago we were
Maybe
kinda,
not 8 months ago. Maybe just 4 months ago.
I mean, when the Bears trade Justin Fields for like nothing, and then they get Caleb Williams, Bears fans are just like,
Officially turned around, guys. We are back, baby.
We are back.
We are fucking back. We are back.
Let's go.
Classic. We are back! We are back! We are getting Doug back!
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have. We're the three.
Those Chicago fans coming together.
That's so true.
Whether you're a Sox fan, Cubs fan, Blackhawk fan, you came together and you were like, Bears. We can all agree on the Bears. And then they gave you this. 9 weeks, offense coordinator gone. A couple weeks later, coach gone for the first time in 100 years. So
it's true. There's nothing better than the feeling initially when something big happens and you're just excited. Before anything even happens, you can at least like just make up in your own brain that they're going to be really, really fucking good or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And now we have
just like live in that and just love it for that little bit of time until they fucking break your hearts like they always do.
We have an offensive coordinator who wasn't the offensive coordinator. We have a head coach who was the offensive coordinator who wasn't the offensive coordinator. We have a defense coordinator that didn't call plays either now the defense coordinator. They're bad.
They'll win 5 straight probably.
5 straight?
Let's go. Get to the
All
playoffs.
Right. Do they beat San Francisco? Yes or no? Final thought.
I think they do. I
Going
only
to
say
San
that.
Fran and upset 325 kick this Sunday.
I only say that because I think San Fran's really, really banged up and really down. I think their season's on the brink of explosion. No McCaffrey, no Mason anymore. So Debo's pretty banged up. Trent Williams is banged up. I think it could be, 7-6 game.
If there's a game for them to win, I think this would be a good one, especially for all that's going on.
If the Bears win, Jalen Johnson will be a big reason of it. I think after coming out and he's taking on a little heat for going after the coach, I think he's got a pick, forced fumble, some big hit. Jalen Johnson is going to have his fingerprint on this game if the Bears win it.
I like it.
So Game 7
Or
World
Brisker
Series
if
talk.
he comes. Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, this is fun. We'll have to do it again. And unfortunately, bear down.